over the past 100 or so years? Yeah. The Bears and Oppenheimer and all the banks, you got to take the wealth. Damn with the vote, you can keep a vote. In fact, I ain't got the vote at all if I got financial power. Did you hear that? Yeah. What did Rothschild say? And when we was in Kimberly, we saw one of the Rothschild's buildings. And for those of you who don't know, it was the Rothschilds who financed Cecil John Rhodes. What did Father Rothschild say? Father Rothschild said, if you give me control over a people's money, if you give me control over a people's money, I care not who makes the laws. The bankers are the gangsters. Yes. And only until you start building independent African banks where we can finance ourselves, we'll never come out from under this oppression. The solution is independence. I want my own. When I get sick, I want to take my children to a hospital with people who look like me. When they go to school, they should be taught by people who look like me. Yes. And why? Because there is no replacement for the cultural continuum and incubator in context of I am. Most white kids in South Africa get taught by white teachers. Most white kids in Europe get taught by white teachers. Most white children on the planet, even though they are a minority, are taught by their own. Rarely does a white child get a black teacher, but we get them all the time. And even if your teacher is black, the curriculum is white. Yes. Yes. You have to learn how to think purely racial. Not racist, but racial. You have to be able to analyze every piece of propaganda that the government throws in your face and see the morsel of truth in it. Because education is not just the ability to know things. Education is the ability to see through things. Because in this world, propaganda, as Mr. Garvey said, has killed more people than open warfare. Do you realize that there's 5 corporations that own every piece of information you get? I don't care if it's music, movies, magazine, newspaper, internet, 5 of them. TNT, Time Warner, General Electric, Walt Disney, Rupert Murdoch News Corp. There's 5 that controls 95%. And just to show you how diabolical the white man is, white folks write books for black people using black names. David Duke, who ran for president of the United States, former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, used to write revolutionary books for black people under a pen name of David Muhammad. The FBI and CIA publishes over 1,800 documents a year. Pure misinformation to send you down the wrong road. So what are you saying, Doc? I'm saying that learning is important, it is critical, it is necessary, but it is thinking that will bring you to freedom. Yes. You got to be a revolutionary thinker. Yes. You got to read that newspaper article and see the bullshit right there and underline it. And I'm talking to Mama Ya, because when I was in Kimberly 2 nights ago, I spoke at the University of Soul Places for the first time. And I was telling them that when I did my tour last October in South Africa, I wanted to put together a worldwide Pan-African youth leadership conference in South Africa, where we bring the young black leaders of Jamaica right next to the young black leaders of Cuba, and the ones in Ghana, and the ones in London, and the ones in Australia, and the ones in America, and we sit down as youth and come up with a blueprint for the next 50 years of struggle. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. But as youth, and I want to do that within the next 2 years. But as youth, I got to ask you something. I got to ask you not to be so arrogant in the presence of your elders that you don't recognize the jewels of wisdom they have to bestow upon you. Right. It's important that you learn from everything that they have to teach. One of my greatest benefits One of the greatest ways I've learned to perfect my thinking and analytical skills is back in Philadelphia when I was with the Garvey movement. Most of the members were elders. I was the youngest one. They were in their 60s and 70s and 80s, so every Sunday at the Marcus Garvey meeting, I'm sitting around old men and women, elders, just dropping jewels on me every Sunday. I didn't even know that I was benefiting from it. But when it was time for me to mount the lecture platform and I was able to infuse my own wisdom with that which was given to me by the elders, most of whom are dead now. But because I had the humility to sit at their feet, I was able to benefit from their lifetime and mine. You only on this earth for a century, brothers and sisters. You get 100 years to do your work. That's it. You got a birth date you know, a death date you don't know, and between both of them is a dash. How did you live your life? And if it was not spent fighting for freedom, no matter what else good you may have done, at least some of your life was wasted, because you cannot have African people in this situation and you not dedicate some of your life to the freedom struggle. See, we have 4 stages, African people. 4 stages in our struggle. First, we had to struggle for our humanity. Remember when the white man first came to South Africa, he said you wasn't even people. Remember that? You had to prove you were people first. You had to reclaim your humanity first. And then after that, you had to fight against apartheid. The second struggle was equality.